It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no risk. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bound, and there I don't dictate.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, and welcome to Xandermonium, the talk show that gets you talking. I'm Xander Gibb, and coming up on today's show, we'll be breaking down some of this week's white-hot topics with the fabulous Tony Losacco, who is in for Thai this week. Jeff Kristian from the TV show London Calling drops by, and in part two, we'll be talking to comedian Charlie Ross. More to come in a mere moment. So you can interact with us during the show, as per usual. Keep scrolling down on the show page on Blog Talk to the chat. Join us in the chat room. Now, if it's not letting you comment, you have to join with either Facebook or Twitter. With one click, you can be a part of the conversation. Now, you can also call us throughout the show on 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Or on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @XanderGibb. XanderGibb, capital X, capital G. Don't forget that all-important @ symbol. Now, you can also tweet Tony. I believe Tony is checking his tweets as we speak. Tony's Twitter handle is @FullStory2014. FullStory2014. You can tweet Jeff. Jeff's Twitter handle is @JeffKristian. That's JeffKristian, capital J, capital K. And Charlie Ross, you can also tweet him. His Twitter handle is @CharlieRoss99. CharlieRoss, and then the number 99, all one word. Make sure you check everybody out and make sure you follow them if you're not already doing so. Tweet me if you're too shy, and I will make your point for you. Oh, yes, I will. So there's still time to vote in our poll at XanderGibb.com. That's XanderGibb.com. That's my website. Shameless plug there. Do you think the Ashley Madison expose was a clear distraction for the Planned Parenthood debacle? So make sure you go and vote there now. We will endeavor to give you the results by the end of the show. That's if I don't forget. So much going on here today. You can even give us a call about that. We'll be talking about that in the first section with Tony. You can also call us on this subject or any other, 347-884-9061. That's 347-884-9061. Call us and get it off your chest. So today's show is dedicated to the memory of the one and only Miss Cilla Black. Now, for those of you who don't know who Cilla is, we'll be talking a little bit about Cilla with Jeff. But Cilla was a British recording artist from the 60s and 70s and early 80s, and she took British TV by storm. She was an icon. She was a doyen, and I loved her. I grew up with her. So our sympathies to the Willis family at this time. May she rest in peace and rise in glory. Oh, yes, indeed. So Tony Losacco is a broadcaster, libertarian, and free thinker with a common-sense approach to the issues that really matter, always insisting on the full story. I give you from the full story, the one and only Tony Losacco. Hey, Tony, how's it going?
Good. How you doing today, Xander?
I am doing fabulously. It's really hot here, though. They're saying it's 79 out. I don't know how hot it is where you are, but it actually, I'm looking at the temperature gauge now, and it says hot as balls. So interpret that how you will. Hello?
Yes, I'm right here.
I thought we'd lost you. Yes, I can. It just Blog Talk technology eluding us again. So how has your week been, Tony?
My week's been okay. Pretty laid back, you know.
Right. Anything interesting happened to you?
And, no, just been following the Donald and the news cycle and everything going on. Those brave Marines yesterday.
Thank God for the Donald. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the Ashley Madison incident to start off with. Now it seems Josh Duggar from 19 Kids and Counting seems to have lost the support of the Family Research Council. They issued a statement in light of the Ashley Madison expose regarding the fact that Duggar cheated on his wife, allegedly, saying it is grieved by his behavior and calling the impact of his behavior devastating. We are grieved by Josh's conduct and the devastating impact of his pornography addiction and marital unfaithfulness. The statement that came this week from FRC President Tony Perkins begins, Duggar served as the executive director to the FRC until May, when reports surfaced that he had molested numerous underage children when he was a teenager, two of his sisters among them. He also initially admitted to a pornography addiction, though the reference to pornography was quickly scrubbed from the statement, which was posted on the Duggars family website. Now, TLC have canceled 19 Kids and Counting in July. A special revolving around child sexual abuse was prompted by the Josh Duggar scandal will air on August 30th. Now, it's clear that for some are saying that this is a distraction from the Planned Parenthood debacle, or maybe it's something more. Now, what's your first reaction to this, Tony? And do you feel this is in order to kind of shift the emphasis away from the Planned Parenthood stuff?
Well, I was going to be sarcastic, but, you know, it's too serious of an issue to be sarcastic, quite honestly. The full story with Josh Duggar, we really have to look at religion as an excuse to judge people and to continue doing whatever you want, blame the devil for it, praise Jesus, ask forgiveness, then go on a tour and make more books and sell more CDs and go on the church circuit all over again saying the devil made you do it, I've repented,
right,
and then continue to condemn other people. Now, I gave the guy the benefit of the doubt the first time with the child abuse scandal. Okay, everybody's entitled to make mistakes in their past. Everybody is entitled to forgiveness and grace. I'm a believer in grace, in Jesus Christ, no qualm there. But as we said last time when the initial scandal broke with him, you cannot sit there, condemn, and judge other people and be
right,
doing the same immoral crap yourself. And
right,
I just don't understand. I've seen this in the church time and time again with fundamentalists and conservatives. They will condemn people, then they in secret have their sins, but when they get caught, it's okay because they pray to Jesus for forgiveness, and then, like I said, they go on the church circuit telling all the rest of the churches their glorious testimony of how the devil caught them in sin, but God pulled them out of it and make more money. It's a license to be immoral and judgmental, and he should be called out, and there should be nobody welcoming this hypocrite. Not because the guy made a mistake, but because he's a hypocrite and he's not taking responsibility for his actions. The devil made him do it is what he's saying. Oh, but
right,
God will forgive me. So God will forgive you, but not somebody else, and not the people you've been condemning all your life, right?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Exactly. Exactly. Because here's the thing. You know, yes, we do all make mistakes, but if I go on my show and say don't eat at a certain restaurant because they give funds to whoever, and then pictures surface of me eating in that particular restaurant, that would make me a hypocrite. And I don't want to be a hypocrite. I try and be as open and honest as possible. But if you're condemning certain segments of the community and then doing the same or similar things yourself, because let's face it, if we're saying there's no grading in sin, that sin is sin is sin, Josh Duggar is a sinner. Let's face it, and he's been vilified quite rightly this week by certain groups on social media. But hasn't he left himself wide open for that?
I have more respect for the Subway guy, honestly. Not that what he did is right. How so? Because he didn't spend his career condemning others.
Right.
That's how so. The man's a pedophile and he's evil, but at least he's not a hypocrite. Right. In Duggar's case, and then see, they glossed it over. That's my big problem with this. The first scandal with the children, they said, oh, that's in his past, we got him help. You know what? I was okay with that. Like, hey, okay, so, everybody makes mistakes in their past, and yes, he's a moral guy now, judgmental, but still, But no, when it comes out that the man has been deliberately continuing to be immoral while preaching against it and condemning others, and then he blames not himself, doesn't take responsibility, but says the devil made him do it. He's setting himself, mark my words, you heard it from the full story first. Within 1 year's time, this man will be selling books and going to churches, getting speaking fees, being glorified and getting love offerings by the Christian fundamentalists who love their own but hate everybody else because he repented and here's his testimony. It's a license to continue to do wrong no matter what and judge others.
But here's the thing for me. I'm a Christian, and I try to live my life according to the Bible as much as possible, which is not always an easy thing. But for me, the Bible teaches me not to judge others. But there is a certain section of the Christian community that feel that it's okay to judge others because the Bible has already done that. No, you're missing the point, Christian. Some of these Christians that are doing this are missing the point, because if you can't forgive others and see that others can err, how do you expect that God is going to forgive you?
And one thing I want to point out as a Christian, actually, I'm not saying because he messed up a second time the guy deserves condemnation. The Bible, Jesus teaches how many times do you forgive somebody? 70 times 7. Now, if he had come out in his public statement and said, you know what, I'm a faulted guy, I realized I was wrong in judging others, now I know what it feels like, and said something like that, I'd be supporting him, and I'd be saying, hey, everybody can make more than one mistake more than one time. He's a human being. But he hasn't said that. He has never apologized for judging all those other people or said, hey, I was wrong to do it, now I know what it feels like. It's that I'm putting myself above everybody else because I'm a Christian mentality. Or, excuse me, I claim to be a Christian mentality.
For sure. And you're absolutely right. I would have had more respect for just Josh Duggar if he'd have come out and said that. Now you know that as a gay person, I'm always more than willing to chastise the LGBT community when they get it wrong, because I have to chastise my own more than I do others, to be honest.
Yes.
But in this instance,
case,
the reaction
they got it right.
Is it's absolutely right, and it's absolutely fair, because don't judge other people and be, if my question to people that always when they question my sin is, what of your sin? Are you so right with God that you can judge me and other people? And if you are, then okay, but I don't think anyone is. Who is sinless? Who is blameless?
And I am not condemning him. It's like Jesus with the woman caught in adultery. Let you who is without sin cast the first stone. I'm not condemning him because he's an adulterer, because he's addicted to pornography, or because he even molested his sisters in the past. I'm condemning him because he's a hypocrite who thinks he can continue to get away with it and not take responsibility for his own actions. That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Tony, and the thing is, for me, when you are judging others, you got to make sure that your own slate is clean out there. Because this is the thing. This is America. People can find out things about you all the time. People can hack your websites. People can hack websites with supposed firewalls. So if that's the case, then why do these things when you know you're going to get found out?
Absolutely. In fact, you know what? I have a personal story in relation to exactly what we're talking about. I was to an unnamed church a couple of months ago, okay? And I was struggling with some things, and the guy gave a great speech. This was a famous 90s Christian rock band. I won't give their name. And this was the lead singer, and I even had the album. So I kind of idolized this guy, honestly. It was one of my favorite bands, you know? Here he is speaking at my church, and I'm going through something, and I've kind of fallen myself. So I want to tell him, you know, hey, awesome, you know, you inspired me, right? So he gave this great speech. And see, publicly we didn't know this. Apparently this group changed lead singers, but they didn't say why. It was covered up. Why was he became hardcore addicted to drugs and went out there and sinned his life away. So now this was a year or two later. He was back in the church saying, I've repented. Oh, praise God, I've overcome this, you know, and da-da-da. Wow, inspirational. You know, when I try to go to him and tell him anything, he just wanted to sell his book on how he repented and got right with God. And he was being booked at more and more churches, getting more and more money. This is the evil process I'm talking about. And it went on with Joyce Meyer as well. It goes on with all of them in this evangelical fundamentalist circle where they have a license to do what they want and judge others and then come back and make millions. It's wrong.
Absolutely. Let's hold that thought for a second because I can see that our first guest is in the virtual green room. And before they eat too many of the virtual vol-au-vents, because they are virtually fat-free because they're actually not there, let's actually bring them on. So our next guest is Jeff Kristian, who is probably best known as one of the hosts from Celebrity Big Brother UK. Now, we've been lucky enough to get Jeff to be involved with the new series of Xandermonium TV with a fabulous segment, a show within a show, if you will, called London Calling. So here to tell us a little bit more about what's going to be going on and who's going to be coming and joining us, I give you the one and only Mr. Jeff Kristian. Welcome back to the show, Jeff. You're live with myself and Tony. How are you doing?
Hi, Xander. Hi, Tony. I'm really good, thank you. Very excited about the show London Calling. We've got some amazing stuff coming up. We're all very tired, of course, because these things do take quite a lot to put together, but it's so much fun.
Absolutely. So who have you got? Who have you got lined up? Who's going to be coming on the first show, Jeff?
Well, the pilot, we've been very, very lucky. We had the incomparable June Brown, MBE, who perhaps is better known in the States as Doc Cotton in EastEnders. She's absolutely adorable, so there's a fantastic interview with her. We also have Robbie Drake, the makeup and special effects artist, that's known for such things as Clive Barker's film Nightbreed, Attack the Block, Cottonheads versus Zombies. We have the US dance chart topper Kelly Wilde's going to be on. Michael Jackson's favourite singer Rosanna is coming to features. The London poet Jake Hawkey. The UK Big Brother winner Pete Bennett is going to be with us as well. Multiple chart hit music mogul Pete Martin. We've even got Ian Parker from the Hollies and Clannad. Do you remember Clannad and the Hollies? Punk actress Severe Disgrace. It goes on and on, but some fascinating, amazing people. And also we've got a splattering of exhibitions and museums and local culture and events that are going on for you. So hopefully it's going to be a fabulous addition to the show that we already love.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to see what's going on with London Calling. It sounds like you've covered a very broad spectrum of guests. Now London and New York are kind of like.
Sorry, I was going to say we've brought in people specifically to help us do that. We have presenter Susie Chameleon, who's a journalist and writer looking at the alternative scene for us. Producer and recording artist Jason Prince is looking at the entertainment side of things. And then there's me doing all the location and outside stuff, come wind, rain, and nosy tourists. I'm really good to you, Xander. I am honest.
I hope you've got your pack and mac ready, Jeff. So London and New York are kind of like sister cities, and I guess people in America will be able to kind of see similarities and get a look at what London life is really like.
Yes, I hope that they will, and we have been sort of quite specific to relate to the American audience. You know, we're working on subjects that we know Americans will understand and appreciate and maybe recognise as best as we can, and focusing on certain Americanizations of the UK as well, because of course such things here have become much bigger in more recent years. Things like Halloween was never such a big event as it's always been in America here, but of course it is becoming much bigger here now. So those are the types of things we're trying to include.
Yes, absolutely, and Halloween is a very big kind of celebration here. I mean, everybody seems to dress up as something on the day. Now, I don't know if you heard in the beginning of the show, but we were actually talking about the fact that that today's show was dedicated to the fabulous Cilla Black, who I believe you met and worked with during your time.
Well, I wouldn't say that I worked with Cilla Black in the respect that I knew her. I did a TV show in the early 90s that she was on called Trading Places, which was one of those Saturday night English TV shows where people within the industry and outside of the industry as well changed jobs for the day. So I was kind of there. I didn't have a major part in it. I was kind of there. But I did spend most of the 90s impersonating Cilla Black in my show, my cabaret show, which was great fun. And Cilla Black, I think, was one of the favourites of my show that people would call out for. But we love Cilla Black here. We really did love her. She was truly, as you said earlier, she was truly an icon of British television. In fact, people have said, she has the title of the First Lady of British television, and I think it's a long way from being topped, seriously.
Right.
But of course, the one thing, of course, here as well that she was remembered for mostly, which the American audience might remember her for, is of course her amazing recording career from the early 60s onwards.
Right. Absolutely.
So let me ask. Oh, Xander. Oh, I was just going to ask you, Jeff, as a comedian, I'm wondering what your perspective is, because as you know, my thing I talk about on the Xander Show all the time is politics. Do you ever get afraid? Because in America, we tend to get offended very easily, and that's been a hot topic of conversation. As a comedian, do you ever worry about going too far or offending your audience or offending somebody out there?
I think that the thing with English audiences is, as you probably know, there are two things in particular that Americans perhaps take the mickey out of with English people. One of them is their teeth, bad teeth, and the other one, of course. The other one, of course, is the fact that we're very polite and everything's please and thank you and such. And I think that audiences tend to be kind of like that as well. English audiences certainly. So therefore, you can kind of get away with a lot more. I think the other thing as well is that on British television now, there's a lot more swearing and such than I know that you're able to have on American television. So I think that we're more accustomed when we go out to see a show or a performance, we're more accustomed to being a little bit nearer to the knuckle. But to be honest with you, I don't really touch on politics too much because we're very up in the air with everything at the minute. There's a lot of things that people don't like about politics in the UK at the moment, as in America. But I don't touch on it too much. But a little bit. We dabble, shall I say?
Absolutely. So you're working with the renowned producer and director Salam Kapsaski, and I believe you've told us in the past you worked on a couple of his movies as well, one that's coming out soon called Spy Darlings.
Yes. Yeah, we're nearly finished actually. We've been working on it for a few years now, as sometimes these things do take.
Right.
And we're just about to start filming the final scene. And you may know I've been involved in the soundtrack as well, so we're kind of finished on that now. So it's very exciting for something that you've been working on for so long. I mean, I've been working on it since I was practically a child now, you know. It's lovely to see it come into fruition, you know. So it should be out, if all goes to plan, it should be out a bit later this year, which is very exciting.
Brilliant.
And of course, I'm working with Salem on London Calling as well. So how lucky am I to have a movie director to work on the TV show with?
For sure. And it's funny how when you work with people in the industry, you kind of you end up coming back to work with them because they're good. And obviously, you know, we've worked together in the past, you know, and on the cabaret scene in London, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think that this kind of industry is quite bestial in that way, that people kind of go back to what they know and they know to people they know who are good?
I think it's true in any part of this industry. You often see people that work together again and again and again. And I think it's because it's very difficult to trust people in this industry.
Right.
I'm not just talking about sort of financially with, you know, everybody knows about industry sharks and the dodgy agent and such. I don't just mean that. A level of trust, for example, from an acting point of view, you need to know that you can trust the people that you're looking at, actors or directors. And I think that once you've seen that happen, it makes it much easier and you feel much more confident going back to work with those people again. And certainly I find that with Salem. We've worked together on a couple of different things now, but I don't need to question Salem. I know what to expect. He knows what to expect from me. And in a funny sort of way, particularly with filming a television program rather than a film where you have much more time, that trust is essential because it means you can get the job done quickly and move on because you know what to expect from each other and you know what's going to happen. And I've heard this said from many people, you know, often with American films or certainly British films like the Carry On film series, which I understand you see on the educational channel in America. Well, here, of course, they're a sort of seaside town staple. And the actors have always said the same thing because you had the same actors in every single film. They just get so used to each other. And that's what I found with Salem as well. It's exactly the same.
So, Jeff, do you feel that, what do you feel is more important in the industry as far as casting goes? Because you're talking about a lot of relationships and the trust issue, and I've seen that just in local community theater when I've auditioned for parts. Do you think they're looking more for people that they actually know and they have that vision of and people they've worked with before, like, oh, I did this project with this guy, so I know he'll be good in this role? Or do you think it's just raw talent? What do you think? What's the mix there?
I think that people want to know that you can deliver, but I also, what I've found certainly with because I've been sort of typecast in certain things myself as well, in drag, for example, but I think that what often happens is people are casting a type. So you could be a fantastic, talented actor, but if you're not the right height, the right shape, the right colour, and don't actually deliver in that particular area that you're known for example, if you're an aggressive actor or a quiet actor or a gentle actor, I think really that's the biggest part of casting is first of all knowing that you can actually deliver what your agent is telling you can deliver, and secondly that you actually fit the criteria. And to some degree that's where a lot of typecasting comes in, because you tend to find that you're casting the same roles again and again and again for that reason. But ultimately actors want to stay working, and that's the crux of it, I think. For
sure. So I really want to, I'm sure you're sick of talking about it, but I really want to ask you a little bit about Big Brother, because for those those American listeners don't know about it, but you were a segment host on Big Brother and Celebrity Big Brother. What was it like working on that? Because it's like I guess it's a reality show, but like, you know, the stuff that you were doing to kind of bring it all together. Tell us a bit about that, Jeff.
Big Brother, I think, I mean, I've been in the business a long time, as you know. Big Brother, I think, is one of the most fun things that I've ever done. It truly, truly was like a family. Everybody got on, everybody knew what they had to do, and we just had so much fun. It was amazing. it was live television, of course, so, you had to, it's very sort of, very on the cusp of, anything could go wrong at any time, which makes it a bit more exciting. I think my advantage was that because I'm from a live background, mostly from performing live on stage, it helped me. But everybody just really wanted to work together, and you don't always see that. Often you see the shows or television shows or films where you can just tell that people don't like each other, and it really wasn't like that. But it was a long day for the segment that I did. It took a lot of my week to do, but I think it was worth it. I had great fun, really did have great fun.
And did you find, because obviously you met lots of people in the business that were at different stages of their careers, did you find that kind of followed on with them? With the bigger named guests that you had on, did you find that they kind of had the same kind of ideology?
It's a funny thing, because you could tell, it's kind of a green room thing. You could tell the people that have been in the industry and had to work for it for a long time, and the people that had it thrust upon them. For example,
right.
People that had been around for a while were very professional, very polite, very good to work with. They understood what you were trying to do, what you were trying to achieve, whereas the people, if it can be said that there was any problem with at all, were the newer reality stars, people from reality television, particularly in the UK, where suddenly they become instantly famous without the groundwork and the sweat and the tears and the training and such. And to some degree, even though they were still riding on their wave, which is why they were on Big Brother as a guest, you found that they didn't have many of the green room social graces that you and I might come to expect as having been in the industry for a while. But really it was easier for me because I was a presenter rather than a guest. So I was there regularly. You kind of see people come and go, and I had I think people related to me in that way. But I'm very easy to work with as well. I talked to people before and said, this is what I'm going to say, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't want people to be too shocked, well, as little shocked as they can be with the drag queen singing at them. So.
Wait, you're actually a man?
Ta-da!
Wow! I thought Jeff was short for Jeff Arena or something like that.
Actually, I was named after Jeff Tracy from Thunderbirds.
Really?
I think my mum had a crush for the older man. No strings attached. But
Absolutely. So we're coming to the end of our segment. I want people to be able to find you after the show, not to steal all your drag, Jeff, but to be able to follow you. Tell people where your website is. Tell them about the London calling pages, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, Jeff, my website is at jeffkristian.com, and you can find links for everything from there. So everything that I'm doing or I'm involved with at the moment, including London Calling, you can get through the Jeff Kristian website, which is jeffkristian.com. Jeff with a J, Kristian with a K. Jeff with a J, you see, like Jeff Tracy. And I have to say I do sort of, I admire the fact that you're doing a Cilla Black tribute tonight. I think that's a lovely thing. Really is a lovely thing.
Oh, well, I loved Cilla, and I grew, as people know here, I grew up in the UK, and my love for Cilla never ended. Being a singer as well, I kind of saw her every week in my living room, and even though I never met her, I kind of felt an affinity to her because she was very working class as well. Like her, she came from nothing. She was a local girl. She was from Liverpool, and she rose to the highest echelons of our industry. And I think that she really was an example to us all.
She was, and people in America that maybe are not quite so familiar with Cilla Black, it may help to explain that her funeral was actually screened live on BBC TV here. That's the level of status she had here. And you were talking about religion earlier. Of course, she was from a Catholic family, so she had the full Catholic mass. And it was very moving, people lining the streets for the cars and such, and the coffins go past. So that's how much we love Cilla Black in this country.
Absolutely, and you know, people bandy this word around a lot, but she really was an icon, wasn't she?
Absolutely, she really was, and you know, many of the tributes that came through from other British television presenters, who did the same job as she did later in life, were saying, you know, she's the benchmark. She set the benchmark very high. We all aspire to be what Cilla was and to be as good as Cilla and successful as her. So, you know, it wasn't just her fan base. It was she had a very strong industry respect as well for her professionalism. People just loved her. So it's sad, you know, it's a sad thing, but you know, life goes on.
I was particularly moved. I watched some of the funeral stuff yesterday, Jeff, and I was particularly moved by one of our mutual friends was at the funeral, Paul O'Grady, and I was really moved by how close they were. You know, you could tell from his demeanor that, you know, he'd lost his best mate. You know.
Yeah, it's true. They've known each other 20 years or so. I think it was Parkinson that they met on. But he did a eulogy, and they left his eulogy at the funeral till last. And I've noticed, I sat and watched it on television as millions of us did here. And I noticed at the beginning that he was wiping his nose quite a lot with a tissue, obviously very upset. And I wasn't sure quite how he'd cope, not only with the pressure of obviously his emotions, but actually being the sort of the finale of the funeral, if you like, of the mass. But he was really quite good and very funny in a very respectful way. And I think that having seen them on television together and, you know, their obvious closeness and relationship, I think Cilla would have loved it. She would have adored it.
I do.
She really would.
I definitely do, and I thought it was quite funny, and you'll appreciate this, Tony, as well, being a Catholic, coming from a Catholic background. This is Paul O'Grady, who started off as this drag character called Lily Savage in the UK, was kind of, he was a little bit risque, and there he was standing at the front of the church, and afterwards, you know, you would have thought, excuse me, that the priest would have been a little bit kind of taken aback, but they enjoyed it too, and they said, go and say 3 Hail Marys now, Paul, which was like, it was perfection, wasn't it, Jeff, really? It
was perfect timing. And I think the whole thing was just nice. It was obviously very well organised and very respectful, and I think she would have loved it. And I don't know whether they played one of her songs, one of her big hits here, which I believe was also a hit in America. And she, I think that the nice thing was that they'd said, Cilla had often said in the past, she said, when I had my tombstone made, I wanted to say Cilla Black, singer. That's how I want to be remembered. And I think it was lovely that they really spoke a lot about that and included that, because of course the younger generation, not the old folks like you and me, Xander, but the younger generation, they only
I'm 35.
they only really remember Cilla from television because she's been a television icon for so long. Some of the younger generation. But what was really nice, I thought, and fitting was that there was a kind of sudden realisation to all of this, and suddenly, just yesterday, Cilla Black got her first #1 chart album. She's never had a #1 album before, so people clearly now recognise her talent as a singer as well, and that's been recognised, and I think she would have loved that. That would have been perfect for her. Absolutely.
Let me ask you one quick question before you go, Jeff. What was your favourite Cilla Black song? That's what she's known as in Asia. She's known as Cilla Black.
Cilla Black.
Yeah.
Well, I love pop music, and you know, it's been spoken about my adoring and involvement in Eurovision and such as well. So some of those real London-sounding 60s songs. I know she's from Liverpool, of course, but there was a kind of a crossover between the Mersey beat, which was the thing that really launched British pop in America, of course, with the Beatles and such. Yeah. But also with the London sound from people like people like Petula Clark was very London, whereas Cilla was very Mersey beat. But there was a crossover, and I love those types of pop songs. But I think really, if I had to pick one, it would probably be You're My World, because that was the one that I performed in my show. There's a fairly good chance that I probably sung it as many times as Cilla Black ever. But I would say, and it's a lovely song. It's an emotional song. But Xander, didn't they do fabulous songs in the 60s? I mean, you know, compared to now.
I wasn't around in the 60s, but I heard them like in the late 70s and early 80s when I was growing up.
You heard about it on YouTube? Yes, I know.
Yes, of course, Jeff. You know, absolutely. But listen, thanks so much for joining us today. Give our love to Sal and Susie and Jason and all the team. I think Jason might be coming on to talk to us about the work he's doing for on the London Calling TV show. So I look forward to that. But for now, thank you so much, Jeff Kristian. Make sure you go and check out www.jeffkristian.com and follow him on social media. But for now, thank you so much, Jeff. It's a pleasure to talk to you. Lots of love. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You too. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Oh, I love having Jeff on the show. Jeff and I go back a long way. I'm not going to tell you how long because you will be guessing my age. But our next guest is actually in the virtual green room right now. So without further ado, I'm going to bring them on. No stranger to Xandermonium, our next guest hails from Bonnie, Scotland. He is a comedian, and he is also a Whovian. So those of you who don't know what a Whovian is someone who is a fan of Doctor Who. I'm sure we'll be catching up on Doctor Who gossip while he's on the show. So please join me in welcoming back to Xandermonium, the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Charlie Ross. Hey, Charlie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I am fabulous. You're live with myself and Tony, and it's 80 degrees in New York City. Tell me how the temperature is where you are.
Well, we work in that other system, and I can never remember which one's which, but it was 30 degrees here today, so I don't know what that translates up to, but it can't be far off what you guys have got.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like it's sweltering here today, and really is kind of not very tolerable. But let me start. I want to ask you about, because everybody's asking me about this, and everyone's talking about this week. Now, quite a few of my friends have been performing at the Edinburgh Festival. Tell us about your involvement with that and how that's been going.
Well, this year, particularly just as a viewer, just going to shows. But I've performed in 6 Edinburgh shows in the past. But just in case any of your listeners don't know, the Edinburgh Festival and the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is, believe it or not, the biggest arts and cultural festival in the world. It consumes the city of Edinburgh for the month of August every year, has done since the late 1950s. Has spawned some huge comedy stars, and is a starting ground for comedy stars and comedy performers and actors and singers. Basically, any room that can be an entertainment space becomes an entertainment space for that month.
Right.
It's places that are just warehouses for the whole rest of the year are turned into performance spaces. It's quite a remarkable month, and there's street performers, the place is throbbing with tourists and performers and entertainers. There's free shows, there's expensive shows, there's high-end, highbrow cultural shows, comedy, plays, musicals, avant-garde stuff. It's an amazing experience, and if anyone comes from the other side of the Atlantic, comes to the United Kingdom during the month of August, you really should go to Edinburgh for a couple of days and experience it. It's quite remarkable.
Absolutely. Now, one of my friends is there right now. I don't know if you happen to see her, but she's fairly well known. Her name is Penny Change. Have you heard of her? Did you see her show?
I'm afraid I didn't, and this is the thing. There are literally thousands of shows on, and if you go, you do either one of two things. You exquisitely plan it down to the finest detail, exactly what it is you want to go and see, and book all your tickets so you know it. or you just go and wing it. There's no middle ground. You just go and pole up to a show, wander up, and see what you get. And if it's brilliant, good, well done. If it's not, it could be absolute rubbish. That's the beauty of the fringe performers, the fringe festival. It's wonderful. But how has Penny been doing? Has she been doing well? Has she getting good reviews?
Well, I as far as I know, yes. I've seen quite a good responses to her stuff. But Penny's been quite instrumental for a few years in the New York scene, and was portrayed in the movie about the life of what's his name, Quentin Crisp.
So
she's fairly well known over here, but I think she's a bit lesser known in the UK. But I guess that the Edinburgh Fringe is one way to change that.
It is, yes. I mean, a lot of TV producers, film producers, commissioners, agents, they're all in town at that point. It also coincides with the UK Film and TV Festival as well. So anyone is in the town at that point. The whole of London basically empties. I'm now back in London, as it happens. I was up in Scotland last week. It really is the place to be, and it certainly is worth a visit. And if you get a good review, it can elevate your career onto another level, and really you then you get seen by important, influential people. I won't lie, it is a bit of a lottery, and the chances of being seen are remote. But if most shows are reviewed, most shows do get reviewed. Right. There's a huge team of journalists and reviewers in town, and a lot of publications that cover shows in the Edinburgh Festival. So a couple of good reviews, you start to get attention, you start to get noticed, people who are influential come to see your show, so it can make a difference, it really can.
Wonderful. So as a writer myself, I know the trials of writing for anything, whether it be a TV show, a comedy sketch, or whatever. But I believe you're writing a novel right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
I am, yes. I'm trying. I've already been published. There was a factual book. I wrote a book about stand-up comedy, and so I've already been published, and that went reasonably well. I'm having a go at a fiction novel. I'm having a go at a science fiction novel, in fact, for children, for teenagers. So it's a kind of time travel type sort of element to that. So that's the idea. That's what I'm doing.
So what's that novel going to be about?
Okay, how far do I go? Well, our hero is called Johnny Carter, and he's a young lad from the north of England, from Manchester. He's about 15. He's just a very ordinary lad, has aspirations like everyone. He goes on a visit to a university, and doesn't realise that one of the laboratories where he wanders into has a piece of rock that no one knows is actually alien rock, which has temporal qualities. And he gets infused, shall we say, with a power to bring people from the past into the present. And a very, very famous character from the past is drawn through into the present to help Johnny fight some other nefarious temporal warriors.
Right.
And was there any particular inspiration for that, or did you draw on anything in life?
I wonder if there's a TV show about time travel that perhaps I like. I don't know. Yeah, well, obviously Doctor Who has played a big part in that, and Doctor Who has been a huge influence in my life. But it's slightly different in that Johnny doesn't actually travel in time. People come to him. I haven't exactly set myself a difficult challenge for the first one, because the person he pulls back or forward in time from the past is none other than William Shakespeare. So I'm actually trying to put words in William Shakespeare's mouth. So, writers should always give themselves a challenge. So there you go.
Definitely not easy to put words into William Shakespeare's mouth. But I want to touch on something you were just talking about. Now, I mentioned this in the preamble to bringing you on about being a Whovian. And I wanted to ask you, once again, for those of you who didn't hear it earlier, Whovians are people that are fans of the TV show, the BBC British show called Doctor Who. Now, I want to ask Charlie, what do you think about these rumors? Clara might be leaving. The Doctor might be leaving after this series. What the hell is going on?
Yes, I want to know too.
Well, I never listen to any rumours. I see them all on the internet, and if you listen to all the rumours, you'd go crazy. You really would. There's no point in following it. You've just got to take it as it comes. I'm also very much, although I am a big Who fan, I'm one of these weird guys in the world of science fiction fandom that I can't abide spoilers. I have nothing to do with spoilers. I kind of try and avoid. I do the opposite. I kind of do whatever the antithesis or opposite to spoilers is. I try to avoid everything. I did accidentally, because someone showed me, and I felt quite rude to say no, but they showed me the trailer for the new series, which looks very exciting. I think they've already announced where it's premiering on BBC America on the 19th of September, I think, or that weekend.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's the new series is going to be on there. But let's remember, the Doctor Who was back 52 years. It's a long run. It's the longest running science fiction TV show in the world. It's in the Guinness Book of World Records. So, but you don't need to have caught up in 52 years to watch the new series as it airs. You'll pick it up very quickly.
No.
So
I want to ask you. Go on, Tony. Fire away.
I was just going to ask the question that everybody is sure wondering: who was the best Doctor Who to you?
Well, to me, because I'm slightly older, I go way back to my favourite Doctor was Tom Baker in the 70s. So he was certainly my favourite. But of the new era, it came back. It had a brief hiatus of 16 years. It finished in 1989 and came back with a bang in 2005. And of the new lot, I still love the first one, Christopher Eccleston, but also I do like David Tennant and Peter Capaldi because they're both Scottish. So of course I've got to be a little bit loyal there, haven't I?
Yeah, there's no bias there, is there, Charlie, at all? None, definitely none. My favorite Doctor of this newer bunch really was Matt Smith, but I swore after David Tennant I wasn't going to watch it again, and I watched one or two episodes with Matt Smith, and I was in love. I really was kind of, he was totally for me. We're getting some echo here. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my coil is interfering with the radio server. But what's your take on this new guy? Because I like Peter Capaldi, and I've seen him in lots of other things, but I was really unsure about him being the next Doctor, and not because he was Scottish or anything like that, but he didn't seem to be doctorish for me. You know what I mean?
He did go in quite harsh, and he was quite a harsh Doctor. But this is what they've always done. The beauty of the show is that, for those who don't know, he's an alien who has the power when his body gets attacked or gets harmed in any way that he can regenerate into a new body. Right. It was a genius move. When the show first started, the first actor was a bit older, a guy called William Hartnell, and he started to he fell into poor health, and they thought, well, this show is popular and successful. What do we do? So, well, he's an alien. We can do what we want with him. So we'll make it that he can just change his body when he needs to. So he has this power to regenerate. But each time he does, his personality changes. As I suppose it's a traumatic thing, so it affects you psychologically. Actually, Peter Capaldi is a bit abrupt. He's not as nicey nice as Matt Smith was, and to an extent David Tennant was. But that's actually got more in common with William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee in the earlier years. The Doctor was a bit of an unpredictable and a bit moody, and could be, you just didn't know what you're going to get. And I think that's one of the things I like about Capaldi, although I do agree, I think he has to be toned down a little bit, and certainly from what I've heard, that's one of the things they're doing in this series, is he's just becoming a little bit more. But I suppose, like anything, it takes time to relax into a new body and find your way with it, and who you're going to be and what kind of man you are. So he went from being quite a dashing, young, good-looking, 30-odd-year-looking guy to an older man. That must be traumatic to anyone. I worry I'm going to wake up and that's going to happen to me one day.
Oh, honey, it already happened to me. Don't go there, really. Don't go there.
If only we could regenerate.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I'd like to go to bed tonight and wake up like, wake up like a 25-year-old hunk, or even waking up to a 25-year-old hunk. That would be just as good, I think.
I've often thought if you could just regenerate into Zac Efron, that would be amazing. Just wake up tomorrow, my life would be so different.
I know, right? Right. Just imagine the roles that we would get offered. I know myself from the acting that I've done a lot. Everybody says, "Oh, it's all about the writing," and that is a big part of it. But I think that although Peter Capaldi has brought a lot of his own stuff to this character. There will be a lot of guidance with how he's told to be with this. I'm not sure they've given him the freedoms with it, or do you disagree with that?
Oh no, I totally think that the actors have to kind of follow. Although Peter Capaldi is admittedly a Doctor Who fan and has been his whole life, I think in any performance like that, you kind of have to go with the direction that the showrunners want and the way they want to go with it, and you have a little bit of freedom with how you will portray it, but that is ultimately down to the writing and what's on the page. And yeah, I think they tried something bold. I think they tried something brave, but now maybe it's time to sort of tone it down a little bit, because we've got to have some kind of connection with this character. He is, after all, the hero, and although we love an anti-hero these days and we love the dark side of our heroes, the Doctor has got to, he is aimed at kids, and we have to remember that. Although we're all grown people, grown-ups, grown adults, we have to remember that the show is fundamentally for the kids, and I'd like to see it going more that way. I think it probably will do.
Well, I guess more will be revealed in the new series. There's two more things I want to ask you about Doctor Who before we move on. Number one, do you think we will be seeing any more of Dr. Riversong? And also, what do you think about Missy?
Oh, Missy was an interesting thing. Again, to sort of fill in for the people who don't know about Doctor Who, who I hope aren't switching off in roles right now, or going to make a coffee or something like that.
The listeners, my listeners love Doctor Who. Really?
Well, good to hear. Well, for those who don't know, Missy is in fact a character called the Master, who was the Doctor's nemesis. In the 70s, they decided to give the Doctor a Professor Moriarty type character, who is another Time Lord, which is what the Doctor is. And the Master, like the Doctor, can regenerate and has many different faces throughout the years. But for the first time ever, and we've often speculated whether this was possible or not, the Master regenerated from a man into a woman. We never knew whether this was something Time Lords could do. I think it'd probably be an even more painful regeneration than is usually the case. And I thought Michelle Gomez was fantastic. I thought she did a great job with it. And, you know, when you have something like that, there's only so many ways you can take the character. And I think Stephen Moffat said he was only going to bring the Master back if he could do something different with it. And that is certainly a new direction, and it's something different. And she's fantastic. I mean, the Master is a psychotic. He's a psychopath, and she is appropriately psychotic in the role. And I know she's returning. She's coming back in the first. That's not a spoiler, and it's been very well advertised that she's coming back.
Yes, it has. Yeah.
So that's great. As for Riversong, well, I don't know. I mean, the one thing that we do know about Riversong is that she's met all the Doctor's incarnations, because she meets the Doctor. She's a bit of a time traveller herself, and she meets the Doctor out of order and random, and she's got to keep track of when and what Doctor she's met. So who knows? I do think with the whole Amy Pond story that we've probably wrapped up a lot on Riversong. So I think if we do see her, I think it's a ways off. I think we've got maybe a few seasons before Riversong comes back. But hey, I don't run the show. Who knows?
I'm still pining for the Ponds. You know, I'm sorry, but I am.
Really? Oh, I was so glad to see the back of her. I would have
wow.
I would have pushed her off the top of that building. I just didn't feel there was anything I could connect with the character. I thought she was just too abrupt, too harsh. She got better and they calmed her down.
Come on, she was Scottish, Charlie. What more do you want?
I know, but she was just very. I didn't find her likable at all. So yes, I was glad to see the back of Pond, she seems to be drowned in a pond, basically.
Oh, wow! Sorry, Tony, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
I was just going to switch the topic a little, if you don't mind, to actually Harry Potter, since everybody here seems to be a sci-fi fan and fantasy type fan. There's a theory on the internet today that Dumbledore actually symbolizes death, and that the author of Harry Potter actually confirmed that Dumbledore actually is symbolic of death, and that's why he's always the key figure around everybody's death, that's actually the whole symbolism behind him. I was just wondering what you thought of that.
Well, yeah, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. Read all the books, seen the films, bought the soundtracks, bought the T-shirt, done the whole bit. And yet, I've not read that, but that's an interesting sort of speculation. I'd probably have to look at it in more detail again just to see it. But you're obviously a big fan. Does that fit? Does he actually around when people die? I know that does death follow him around like a shadow? Is that the case?
Well, honestly, it's kind of like Lord of the Rings for me, like you just said. I'd have to go back and watch the movies all over again. But actually, what's interesting is Rowling herself confirmed this. She said, yes, that's it. They figured it out, which that's what's kind of interesting about it. She came out and said, yes.
was Dumbledore there when Harry's, what was it, who was Gary Oldman's character again? Sorry. Oh my goodness, I'm showing my lack of knowledge here. Harry's stepfather, not stepfather, but godfather. What was his name again? Sirius Black.
Oh, you guys broke up on me. Hello?
Yeah, I have to apologize. The Blog Talk software is a little shitty, shall we say? Sometimes we are moving to a different broadcast server very soon. So I'm sorry for that. Do carry on, Charlie. Sorry for the interruption. We can't hear you at all, Charlie.
Oh, sorry. My connection. Can you hear me now?
I can. It sounded like you maybe were covering the hole.
Right. Well, I wonder, was Dumbledore present when Sirius Black was killed? Was he there? I can't remember. I don't think he was he?
I can't remember, honestly, either. I mean, I know he was there for a significant amount of deaths, and I'd never seen the rumor until today, and then it was all over Facebook, that she confirmed that was it, and it was her favorite theory, and it all fits. So I was like, well, if the author's saying it. But it's interesting because I never caught on to that watching the movies, and I looked for symbolism in every movie and book, honestly, and that one didn't cross my mind.
Well, I mean, I suppose when you're an old man and when you get to sort of, when you get on in life, you see a lot of death, and Dumbledore had obviously lived for an awful long time, and I suppose after a while, maybe it's the symbolism is simply that when you get older, death becomes a part of life.
Yes.
As we all find out.
You might both be surprised to know, but I've never read Harry Potter. I've never watched Harry Potter, and I've never found it appealing in any way, shape, or form. And and I'm the biggest sci-fi freak that there is. I watch everything sci-fi related, but Harry Potter has never really spoken to me. I don't know why.
Well, that's the way. I mean, that's the beauty of the genre. Is so wide and varied that you're never going to like everything. I mean, I'm going to say something sacrilegious right now. Oh gosh, this is really going to annoy people. I've never got Blade Runner.
No, I'm with you there, actually.
Me neither.
That and Mad Max. I never got either of them, honestly.
I've read the book, and I like the book. I've watched the film, and I've never got the big deal. And yet I have friends, even friends who are non-science fiction fans, who will watch Blade Runner on a monthly basis. They just adore it. And I just didn't get it. And I've watched both versions. I've watched the director's cut. I've watched the original cut. I've done everything, that I can to try and like it. But I'm a bit meh.
Yeah,
one of my favorite... Oh, go ahead, Xander. I'm sorry.
Wait. No, go.
I was
going to
say one of my favorite hobbies is when I'm with a Star Wars fan, I will argue with them that Star Trek is superior, and when I'm with a Star Trek fan, I will argue with them that Star Wars is superior.
You're such a troublemaker, Tony, aren't you? Really? Let's face it. Well, unfortunately, I could talk all day, but we are coming to the end of our time together. I want you to share with people, Charlie, where they can find you on the interwebs, and where they can follow you, etc., and where they can see you perform. We lost you again. Hello.
Sorry. Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you again now.
Hi. Well, I'm at Charlie Ross 99 on Twitter, so that's at Charlie Ross 99. I don't know where the other 98 Charlie Rosses are. I was quite perturbed when I was that high. And also, if you go to a website called rooftopcomedy.com, there's a couple of clips of my stand-up on there. So go have a look. Just search for Charlie Ross on rooftopcomedy.com, and you'll get a couple of clips there.
Absolutely.
And one of those is a routine about Doctor Who.
Wow. Well, I'll definitely have to check that out then. You know, I'm even more interested now if it's Doctor Who related, and all the Whovians out there should go and check out Charlie Ross too on rooftopcomedy.com. Make sure to follow him on.
Put that link on my Twitter right now. I'll go and do that right now.
Absolutely, go now. And if you look at today's show page, there's a link to Charlie's Facebook and Twitter, so make sure you go and follow him on there too. But for now, thank you so much for joining us, comedian Charlie Ross. Thanks a lot, Charlie. Have a great week.
You too. Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was indeed comedian Charlie Ross, all the way from Bonnie, Scotland. Make sure you go check him out on Facebook and Twitter and rooftopcomedy.com. Well, we're at the end of the time now. Tony, thanks so much for co-hosting with me again today. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope you will come and join us again very soon.
Thanks for having me, Xander.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Take care. Have a great weekend. Give all love to Kiko.
You too. Okay.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Well, that was today's Xandermonium, brought to you live from New York City. I've been Xander Gibb. Thanks so much to Tony Losacco for co-hosting. Thanks to Jeff Kristian from jeffkristian.com for coming and telling us about the upcoming TV show London Calling, which will be featured as part of Xandermonium TV, which is starting again in September. Thanks to comedian Charlie Ross. You can check him out on Twitter, Charlie Ross 99. Make sure you use that all-important @ symbol. Also, make sure you put a date in your diary for next week where our guest will be Jason Prince, who is the entertainment correspondent for London Calling. He's going to come and tell us about his role. Also, we have our Israeli correspondent, David Weissman, coming on next week to tell us about what's going on in Israel. So I hope you will join us. In the meantime, have a fabulous, fabulous week. We're going to play out with this, something by me. This is called This Is Love, and I love you all. Bye-bye.
Love, it has been good to me.